Hey everybody, Marcy here from pranaDOGS Behavior and Rehab Center. Most of you know me from my work with dogs, but what I want to talk about today is something that I'm equally passionate about, and that is animal welfare, animal shelters specifically. I love the fact that we live in a country where there's an animal shelter in every region of our country. That's phenomenal. We have a place of professionals looking out for our animals if anything happens to us, no matter where we are. That's awesome. That being said, we've got some work to do to create some baseline standards so that if a dog ends up in one shelter in one area, we want them to have the same experience as if they end up in a shelter in another area. Now, in order to start this conversation, I just want to talk about some basic nomenclature or some naming. In general, we have three types of animal shelters. We have government-run facilities, we have humane societies, and we have rescues. Government-run facilities are organizations that are usually brick and mortar, so they're a building that houses animals up for adoption. They are usually taxpayer funded and run by the city or the municipality. Humane societies, on the other hand, are nonprofit. They're private organizations started by a group of citizens that got together, and there is also typically a brick and mortar, so a facility that houses animals that are up for adoption, and they are privately funded, which means they're based on donation dollars, grants, things like that. The third type is rescues. Rescues, unlike the first two, typically does not have a large building with animals up for adoption. Rescues are often smaller, ad hoc type of places. Rescues are often specific. Many rescues are breed specific, type of animal specific, or maybe where the animal comes from. We only take dogs in from the islands, something like that. That's a rescue. Rescues are also nonprofit, so a lot like the Humane Society's rescues are nonprofit, but now there's differences between all of these, but I want to break these two down a little bit more. Government-run organizations, humane societies. Within the humane society world, there's two different types. There's humane societies with a government contract. There's humane societies without a government contract. Now, humane societies with a government contract are doing the same work that this organization's doing. A lot of times you'll see humane societies with a government contract in areas where this organization doesn't exist. There's a lot of 1,000 types of rescues, but in general, they fall into three categories. We have rescues that are foster-based. They're very similar to these, that they're looking for homes for animals, but instead of having a facility, they have all their members have the animals at their houses and they get together for adoption events. The second type is often a money-driven one. This is where they're raising money, often to provide to the government organization, to provide for spay and neuter, vaccines, medical care, behavioral care, etc. The third type is a miscellaneous category. This is where a lot of the sanctuaries, the rescues, the houses, the other places fall into. If they have a lot of dogs, if they're doing unique work, pranaDOGS would fall into the miscellaneous category since we're a rehab center for dogs that's unique. Things like that are going to fall into the miscellaneous category. Now, when we go back to this distinction of humane societies with a government contract or without, this is where the split happens. Because humane societies without a government contract and all the rescues are considered limited admission. We take in as many animals as we can and then we close our doors. We're full. If I can't adopt an animal out here, if I can't foster an animal out here, then I don't have space to take in another animal, right? That's limited admission. Now, right now the numbers are showing limited admission. This whole group, humane societies without a government contract and all the rescues out there are taking in about a third of the animals. A third. Government organizations and humane societies with a government contract are taking in the bulk. They're taking in 2/3 of the animals. And so these guys are handling 1/3. These guys are handling 2/3. Government-run organizations and humane societies with a government contract. Now, what does this mean? This means that if I bring my animals to these organizations and they're full, they have to make a space. How do we make a space for an animal? We adopt them, we euthanize them, we transfer them. That's our only options. Adoption, euthanasia, transfer. Now, consider this, and we don't talk about this half enough. Government-run organizations, humane societies with a government contract, must take everything that comes to their door. Rescues, humane societies without a government contract do not need to, right? We're limited admission. We don't need to take anybody in until we have space available. Now that's great and good, except for we get to handpick our animals. Think about it. These guys have to take in everything. They get the aggressive dogs. They get the dogs that have never seen a vet. The dogs that have never been behaviorally sound. The dogs that are inbred. The dogs that never got loved in their life or never saw a human in a kind way. They get all of that. So, in a perfect world, we don't want the government running animal welfare. I think that's what we're coming to. We don't want the government in animal shelters. And so over the last 20 years, we created all these rescues and all this no-kill world and said, okay, we'll take care of it, but we're only taking care of 1/3. They're still left with the bulk. And what's happened? All the money's channeled into no-kill. All the donations are channeled into no-kill. All of the focus and the resources and the conversation is focused onto this when this is doing the bulk of our problems. And the more focus you take off of this, the less these animals get. These animals are already struggling. They need more, not less. We need money going to them. Government organizations need help. They don't need people to go away and go, you euthanize animals, I can't come here. Are you kidding? The problem is not kill, no kill. The problem is we have too many animals coming in. These organizations are taking in way more animals than they have room for. And until we can start transferring a lot more across the country and moving our animals within the borders of the United States and just getting them from high population places to low population places, these organizations are going to have no choice but to euthanize dogs in their facilities because the incoming doesn't stop. We have an organization close to us. They get 35 dogs in a week and adopt out 4. 35 dogs in a week and they adopt out 4. There's not that many transfer partners out there, people. There is just not. It's a big deal to try to transfer a dog through 3 or 4 states in a process that takes 3 or 4 days. That's a big, big deal, especially when this organization already is at bare bones. Government-run organizations, and this is another little tidbit, the way you tell the difference between your organizations is how much they spend per night per animal. That's what we want to know, right? So humane societies, these nonprofits, these get to set the agenda. And they can say, listen, we're going to have a medical department. We're going to have a behavioral department. We're going to treat every animal that comes in needing our care, which means they probably spend $40 per night per animal. That's a lot. These guys, taxpayer funded, under the Parks Department or something similar, these guys are paying maybe $15 per night per animal, maybe $20 on a good day. Half. These animals get half of what these animals get. That's huge. Until we can lessen the burden here, our animals are not going to get what they need.